Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. Cardano also today in a little bit of a correction, not unexpected. Told you already in the last couple of days that I do expect a correction. Therefore, I added a stop loss to my trade that I had open. Now this trade is now closed. I got stopped out, cost neutral, because I did set two stop losses. One that I closed a little bit in profit, one that I closed a little bit at a loss. And this was when we dropped below that 114 level here. I got stopped out. That's fine. That was to a degree expected. Therefore, I did add these stop losses. Originally, my plan was not to do it. But then in the last few days, when I saw this bearish divergence, we saw that lower high. And yeah, I anticipated a correction, as you will know if you've seen my previous videos. And therefore, I got a little bit skeptical. I mean, we're currently finding support at the 114 level. That's fine, but I would not be surprised if at some point here in the near future we might even retest that $1 level. I mean, yesterday I showed you here the potential that we could get something like a let me just find the right setting here, that we could form here an inverse head and shoulders, yeah, where you would be able to come down to the dollar level, retest that with a higher low, and then this could play out really bullish, right? That could then take us to much higher levels, yeah, above, let's say above 163, or at least to 163. So I had a question today from someone who said, because I said the target area, Cardano did reach the target area, and therefore it obviously did complete the correction, or at least it fulfilled the minimum requirements to complete the correction. And everybody who's been following me for a while knows that I already in September talked about it. In September we were here nearly at the all-time high. I talked back then about an upcoming correction. Now, I did not expect back then the price to drop that much, but at the time I set a target area somewhere up here. Now that was obviously pinched through here, the price. I wasn't even bearish enough. I mean, you know that I am generally skeptical. I am generally careful, and I was always told in the last few weeks and months actually that I'm too bearish, but in the end it all worked out. Yeah, we all got into, most altcoins reached their target areas. Now Cardano is one that actually went through the first target area. That wave count then was invalidated because Cardano did drop a little bit too much. But as soon as Cardano made the lower low compared to that wave A, yeah, so it got below $1, then it became very likely that it had completed the correction, because until then we assumed a different wave count. We had just a different wave count, and Cardano could, in that wave, in that original wave count, it was possible for Cardano to come down to the dollar level and from there to start and reverse and go higher. Now, obviously, it did go a little bit lower. Therefore, I had to change the wave count. And you can see here currently on the chart that wave A was basically that $1 level. Then we came up in an overshooting wave B, pretty much the same wave count what Bitcoin is doing. And we came down in a wave C. And because we made that lower low, and because of Fibonacci levels that were reached, you know, we can say that Cardano has fulfilled the minimum requirements of the correction. Unfortunately, that first scenario didn't work out. I wasn't bearish enough back then. But I mean, that is just normal because we were just at the all-time high. So when we were at around, yeah, I don't know when I started to talk about that, maybe around 270, that we were going down to at least 181. I remember that was back then. Because that was the 61.8% FIB level, I remember that, to at least 181, possibly lower, but at least 181. That was when we could have completed the correction already. But obviously that is when the whole crypto market correction actually only started, because Cardano was a bit earlier. So you can actually see that at 181, that was here, we had a very, very significant dip. And I'm quite confident that actually Cardano could have, in that instance, completed the correction. I remember that because that was when the target was reached for the first time. We then moved up very, very strongly. So the price reacted to that target level. That was also where the 200-day moving average was. And I'm quite confident Cardano could have actually completed the correction back then, but that was unfortunately in November, and that was unfortunately when the whole crypto market then started the correction. And Cardano unfortunately obviously was thrown down further, and but it did complete the minimum requirements. So what I call the minimum requirements is that certain Fibonacci levels need to be reached in the current wave is a wave 2. So you want to come to certain Fibonacci levels, normally between the 88.7% Fib level and the 61.8% Fib level. You want to make a lower low, and that's it, and then you can start to turn around. Now, this does not mean that the correction also has to be finished, but it means that as soon as certain requirements are fulfilled, the price can turn around. And Cardano did that. It broke out of the descending wedge. It broke out of the descending channel. Now, of course, as we were coming down lower and lower, and we had broken one of these Fib levels, the next logical Fib level and support was this target area down there. Now, that wasn't reached in the end, which is not a problem, because I've been saying throughout that the minimum requirements for the correction could have been finished or were finished, and therefore at any point Cardano can start to move. And we then talked about that descending wedge. So that's all fine. The question then was, because I told you that until we really break above 163, Cardano has a high probability of coming down once more. And that is just logical, because you need to have a certain structure. So of course it can turn around now. It can theoretically move to new all-time highs, but we don't really know if it is a sustainable breakout until we break that 163 level. So that is a very important level. In addition to that, we want a 5-wave structure. So we want 5 waves to the upside, ideally also an ABC down, to get more confidence that the low could already be in. But I'll keep you updated certainly about that. However, what I think is possible and certainly realistic as well, of course depending on what Bitcoin is doing now as well, that Cardano will form this inverse head and shoulders, which would be a bullish reversal pattern. I mean, we already saw here a series of bullish patterns. We saw that descending wedge, which is bullish, and we talked about that. And also what you see on the chart is this W pattern. So both of these are reversal patterns where you make a low, a swing low, and then a higher low. So all of that looking interesting, looking good. But now Cardano has failed to break above that 126 level. That is the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. You can see how important that resistance is. If we break above that, I would anticipate price increases all the way up to the area between 155, which is the 38.2% Fib level, and that 163 level, that swing high of the wave 4. So at the moment, Cardano is coming down to that 114 level. 114 is an important support. We had support and resistance here before. If you lose that, I think we can come down to that $1 level even, So that would be interesting, because then we could really see this inverse head and shoulders form. Had a few questions. Is it too late to buy? In my opinion, not. But again, it all depends on your own strategy. If you have the strategy that I have, personally, I'm accumulating the dips, not taking profits yet. We are only very much in the beginning, in my opinion. If you zoom out, you can see where we come from. And the projections for the next major wave up, that would then be a wave 3, will be at least $4.05. But in my opinion, that will be higher. That is the absolute minimum. Could really go to $5 or even $6.55. That's my view here on Cardano at the moment. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.